Hey, what's up? It's Comic95 the Savior, and for this video I will be talking to you about cheating in Japan and the differences between cheating in Japan versus in the US. Please keep in mind this is my own personal experience, what I believe it to be true based on my experience with dating in Japan, having friends here, and everything else I've experienced over the course of these last 5 years. I am not God, I do not know everything, I don't know everyone, but obviously after living in a culture for some time, living in a different country, you learn different things, you see cultural differences, you learn things both from reading, watching, and or experiencing them yourself. Do keep in mind that once again, just because you might think, oh okay, well this didn't happen to me, or my partner says whatever, people may say that they believe one thing, but their actions show something entirely different. For example, if you were to ask the average Japanese person, are you sexist? No, they're not going to say that. But as soon as the topic gets on, about having children and wife and marriage, etc., you will instantly see them talk about gender roles, not even realizing that that's a thing or a term. But most men here are old-fashioned and expect for you as their wife, their girlfriend, their woman, to take care of the house, take care of the kids. The more modern way of doing things now is maybe they're okay with you working a job, but preferably they want you to make less than them. And maybe they're okay with, helping out, but they want you to do most of the, raising of the children and cooking and cleaning by yourself. Just when I'm okay with playing dead and when I have time after work, sure, I'll help you out as your husband. So, just trying to throw that out there because some of you are going to be like, well, actually, I'm glad my husband thinks this, or my friend says that. Nobody's going to openly say that they disagree with this. So, let's go ahead and get to it. So first things first, let's talk about how relationships start. I'm going to make this video as brief as possible. It's going to be long, but I'm not going to spend a long time on each tip or each point because I have 5 to cover. So relationships generally start after you've seen somebody for several different dates, and normally it is the guy who confesses his love to the girl, to which she can accept and or reject. Normally, even if a girl really likes you, if you propose your love confession to her too quickly, she will normally reject it or be hesitant unless you're really hot. Of course, if you are a foreign guy, you kind of get a little more leeway with this, and as a foreign girl, I would say the same thing too. But as a girl, I would not recommend, confessing your love to a guy ever. Always let him do it. Again, exceptions to every rule. People are going to have different stories, but I can guarantee you that 9 out of 10 girls who do the confessing first, he's probably going to cheat on you, and or he's just using you for sex. So, not going to get into that for this video. So anyway, generally after you have confessed your love, your partner expects you to go cold turkey on any dating apps that you have. So you should delete all of your profiles, and they don't want you to hang out with the opposite sex anymore. So even if you've been friends with somebody, for years and years and years, way before you met your partner, you choosing to stay in contact with your, old friends or whatever is going to make, I'm speaking more so from a girl's perspective, a straight girl's perspective, you're going to make your boyfriend feel jealous, and if he pretends like he's not jealous, he is, and he's probably going to use it as an excuse to cheat on you. So do keep that in mind. Things like being friends with boys, ex-boyfriends, good friends from your hometown, etc. It doesn't really rub guys here the right way. It hurts their ego, and it comes off as cheating. It's embarrassing. He doesn't want to have to tell his family and friends, oh yeah, that's my girlfriend, that's my wife. Oh, but why did I see her with that other guy? Oh, they're just friends. It's not a cultural thing here. Generally speaking, unless you're single, you don't have friends of the opposite sex. And even so-called single people, if you're single and you're friends of the opposite sex, it normally implies you're a fuck buddy. So yeah. Number 2, let's talk about gender roles. So as I kind of already said, generally speaking, as a woman, you're expected to pretty much take care of the home, take care of the kids, and of course satisfy your husband, or in this case you're working on becoming a wife, so you're showing your worthiness of that by kind of playing wifey a little bit. And with that said, your man pretty much expects you to kind of do these things even before he's necessarily put a ring on your finger. And while he might not have actually proposed to you, you might not be married, he still kind of has the same expectations that he has for his wife. Thus, if you are not satisfying him sexually, that would generally be used as an excuse to cheat on you. Now, I have mixed feelings on this topic. At the end of the day, if you are married to somebody in particular, your job, your duty, whatever, as his wife to sexually satisfy him, just as he should be financially providing for and protecting you as, your husband. Well, that's totally fair game. But again, just putting it out there, don't hate me, don't hate the player, hate the game, basically. I'm telling you how it goes. So long story short, again, There's huge double standards, which I'll probably talk about more so later in this video, but basically things that aren't okay for you to do is okay for him to do. So even if he's not satisfying you sexually, it will be pretty much looked upon favorably and understandably if he needs to cheat on you, but if you feel the need to cheat on him, it's not acceptable. So yeah, gender roles. Cultural difference right off the bat. Number 3, how relationships end. Generally speaking, in Japan, people are not very direct when they want to end a relationship. This is where ghosting comes into play. I have a lot of ditzy girls and guys in my comment section on my video about fuckboys and ghosting, and there's tons of people saying, oh, well, my boyfriend said he hates people that does this, he'd never do that. That would be like asking a wolf hiding in sheep's clothing if he's a sheep. I mean, if he's, you know, a wolf. Of course he's not going to tell you that his goal is to blend in and pretend to be a sheep. A lot of people don't think that they're like most Japanese guys. They're like they're the average bad Japanese guy that foreigners have made them out to be. You'll never date a guy that's going to say, yeah, that's me, I'm an asshole, yeah, I'm a jerk, yeah, I ghost people, yeah, that's what I do. They'll never say that. They'll always act like, oh, I don't understand how people do that. And they will do the exact same thing to you. And trust me, girl, if he isn't ghosting you and didn't do it to you, he's probably cheating on you. You're naive. Don't be stupid. So again, it's cultural difference. Off of that, what I really want to get at is, yeah, how they end. So generally people will ghost each other. They just kind of stop talking to each other, kind of fall out, and both of you mutually understand you just didn't have interest in each other. You didn't click. It's pretty much the same as dating too. Like, you don't have to message him and say, hey, so can I see you again? What do you think we are? If he doesn't message you back, doesn't arrange another date, says, oh, I'll contact you later. That's all basically Japanese for I'm not interested, I don't like you, and or if you were together, it's over. So yeah, generally things that end a relationship is, of course, if you get caught cheating, especially as a girl. While Japanese men, again, sexist, double standard, while they expect for you to be forgiving towards them and will bow on their knees and, you know, do everything under the stars basically to earn your forgiveness and trust again, but they will not accept an apology from you 9 times out of 10 unless you're just dating somebody that's really ugly and has rock bottom zero self-esteem. Either that or he's using you for sex and he's actually seeing other people too, thus he doesn't mind forgiving you. Generally speaking, if you cheat on him, that's the end of it. And I won't even say it's necessarily an entirely Japanese thing. Of course, other cultures and countries do this too. There's actually a verse in the Bible that warns you about how cheating on a man, or shall I say a man sleeping with another man's wife, is like unforgivable in that man's eyes. That's pretty much how that goes. Like, even if you're not his wife, as his girlfriend, you cheating on him is just beyond unforgivable, especially if he catches you in the act of cheating. Like, he has proof, whether it's him walking in on you or him seeing messages exchanged between you and someone else. They're very, very defensive and protective over the people that they love and or date, especially if you are married. So again, it's much harsher requirements to satisfy him as far as that goes. But at the same time, I will say that in Japan, your partner doesn't expect you to have sex with them as often as you would in the US with your boyfriend, in my honest opinion. And it's not a matter of them not liking sex, but rather not having time for it and not expecting you to like it per se, because society has built up the fact that the idea that women don't like it. And it's also honestly kind of hard to have sex, really, because unless you have your own place, which most people here do not, there's nowhere to do it other than a hotel, and that becomes expensive. Like, imagine if every time you wanted to have sex, you had to pay a prostitute, basically. Some people live that life, but normal people don't. If I wanted to have sex with my boyfriend in the US, I just go to his house. In Japan, if your boyfriend has his own place, yeah, you can do that. But a lot of guys are living at home with their parents, and obviously they don't want to bring a girlfriend into their house, but some do. So that's all a whole nother story. Not going to get into all of that. But where was I? Yeah, so I have my notes right here. I'm kind of looking at them. So generally speaking, it's okay for him to cheat on you. He knows it's wrong. Cheating is bad across the board. Like, there's no it's okay for him to cheat and you cannot cheat, but rather if you cheat, it's seen as being worse than if he were to cheat on you because you're a girl. So yeah, it's mostly a pride and ego type thing for the guy, because in their mind it's like, what more could I have given you? I provided for you. And even if he wasn't satisfying you sexually, they don't see that as being an excuse to cheat, but they understand if that's an excuse for a man to cheat. They get it if a man gives that reason for cheating. I have no idea why that's the way it goes here. So anyway, unlike American relationships generally end quickly but also slowly. And what I mean by that is you will suddenly just stop talking to each other, and then it'll just you'll stop talking to each other as much suddenly. Like, you'll notice a huge drop, and then it'll just completely decrease more. Or they'll just simply make up some excuse. So for example, things like moving away, That's generally another reason for breaking up. Americans and foreigners, period, don't seem to understand this. I'm talking about Americans because I'm an American. But I see American girls all the time, black and white girls, that get engaged while they're overseas, etc. And don't get me wrong, it's possible to meet someone that's genuine, that's not a liar and cheater. But I can guarantee you 9 out of 10 of these guys, he's not going to honor your relationship if you're not only not in the same country, but you're not only not in the same city, but overseas. People here have a hard time having long distance relationships within Japan. If you're not even within the country, he's definitely cheating on you. Doesn't matter how much he calls you, video chats you, texts you, etc. He's more than likely talking to other girls, and his excuse to justify his cheating will simply be, oh, well, I felt lonely, I needed satisfaction, whatever. And some girls are going to be desperate and be like, oh, okay, I understand. But in all honesty, this guy would not be okay with you doing that to him. And even if he says that he is okay or would be okay, that just shows how he doesn't view you as being as serious of a partner as you may view him. Because he would not be okay with a Japanese girl doing that. So keep in mind things like polygamous and, open relationships, etc. are not a Japanese thing. Those are all white concepts, American concepts, European, whatever. That's not normal stuff to do in Japan. So again, a guy that's doing that with you, he's taking advantage of the fact that foreigners have all of these weird, taboo, sexual things that they do, and basically using you for sex. So while you might think that you're into poly relationships or you're into threesomes, whatever, he would never ask a Japanese girl to do that. He's just doing that with you because he believes you're easy and you like sex, and that foreigners are into this weird, taboo, freaky stuff. So if you want to be a sexual experiment, you're fine being played, by all means, go ahead. So yeah, don't be fooled by people just because they're engaged, just because they're married, whatever. Their spouse, their fiance, whatever, is more than likely cheating on them. And again, like people in Japan, they don't view it as being bad to cheat if you have reasons to cheat, such as distance. But normally, in most circumstances, if you're not together, you just break up. And that's the reason why. Because even although they might have loved you and liked you, they need to love and like someone that's near them so that they don't feel the need to cheat. So I'll give them props on that. Unlike in the US, etc., where normally we would try to make a long distance relationship work, which I honestly agree with that part more so. But you also have people that cheat there too. In Japan, to avoid it, get into that, people just break up altogether. They don't have the time for it. It's not worth it. And yeah, that's the end of the relationship. You move to go overseas, you move to go to another school, another city, end of it. For example, my ex-boyfriend, he dated a girl for a couple of years. She decided to pursue doing some sort of tea ceremony crap. She got up, packed her bags, stopped talking so much, moved to Tokyo. There, end of relationship. There was no formal ending of it. That's just the way that it ended. So life happens. That is normally an example of a way that a relationship will end. It's not ghosting is not exclusive to foreigners. It's how they do it amongst themselves too. So yeah. So anyway, now that I'm done talking about how relationships end, let's jump into number 4, which is what is classified as cheating. I have my notes right here. Yes. What is classified as cheating? So generally speaking, cheating kind of varies, honestly, culture to culture, but ultimately everybody believes that it's the same thing. So how I define cheating in the US is basically doing anything that is sexual or flirtatious of nature that you would not be comfortable with sharing and showing your partner or doing in front of them. Japan is basically the exact same way, except once again there's a huge double standard. As a girl, you are expected to be more understanding and acceptable of your man doing stuff with other girls, whereas you as the girl, you should be understanding that your man doesn't want you to do, say, or be around other men. That would be seen as cheating. So for example, your guy might have female friends. He might, go out with his guy friend, has another girl or somebody there. You should be totally understanding to the fact that it's nothing sexual. However, if you were to express to him that you're going to go hang out with guys, if he's totally fine with it, there's a 99.9% chance he's only fine with it because he's going to use the fact that you're cheating on him to go out and cheat on you back in return. Cheating back is a very common thing to do here. Guys get jealous in a more passive way. Most of the time, they're not going to be very confrontational. So for example, if you say you're going to hang out with your guy friends, he might express to you that he's concerned about you cheating. But then if you insist, oh no, it's just a friend, and he just drops it like, oh, okay, I trust you, I believe you. He doesn't. It's a lie. He's probably going to cheat back on you, and or you have now lost trust with this dude. So yeah, generally speaking, most guys don't see it as cheating from their perspective if they cheat on you out of things like loneliness or lack of sex. So for example, he might not see, things like paying for a prostitute, or watching pornography, which I don't see pornography as cheating myself, but I know plenty of girls that do. Things like that. He does not view that as any form of cheating. It's understandable because the purpose in doing it was to sexually satisfy himself, to fulfill a need. Whereas, you know how the saying goes, which I have to kind of agree with this, for the most part, normally if girls do cheat on you, it's generally because they want it to satisfy the feeling of love, not so much the act of sex itself. And that is the part that hurts and hits guys the most, is that they know that your reasoning for cheating is different. Guys normally cheat just for the purpose of having sex. Girls normally cheat for the combination of the two, if not the one factor, which is to feel loved by someone else. However, I see it this way. You can avoid girls wanting to cheat on you if you just give them what they want, which is love and affection, which a lot of guys here don't seem to know how to do because they're too selfish thinking about themselves. So, yeah. Long story short, for most people, doing things like paying for a prostitute, having sex with somebody casually, whatever, as long as, you know, they're not making this person end up get pregnant and they're not bringing them home and it's not, you know, interfering with his personal marital life or whatever, they won't view it as real cheating. They know it's cheating because they're not going to tell you about what they're doing and they don't want you to know. But they will see it as justified cheating. They just don't want to tell you about it. So for example, you'll have the husband or boyfriend that goes out late at night, or that has to leave earlier for work, or has, you know, some random meeting in the middle of a day or during a holiday, and, you know, they want to be alone to do whatever. Yeah, he's cheating on you. He's not busy. He didn't have to stay late. He didn't forget his phone. He didn't forget his keys. He didn't want to be bothered with you while he was cheating. He didn't want to have to tell you what he was honestly doing. I have so many friends that have been in situations where their husband, you know, their Japanese husband, you know, is basically cheating on them. And normally, I'll make another video on this. It's almost always girls that got married in their, you know, 20s. And that's the problem. Like, in my opinion, I'll make another video on my feelings on this. This is why I personally do not date men that are under the age of 30. I find it to be a waste of time because most of the time they're not done playing around. They want, and I mean that, you know, no pun intended, because play in Japanese implies having casual sex. They literally just want to play around and have fun. And so they might marry you because they know they want to be with you in the future. But in the meantime, they want to, you know, have their cake and eat it too. But they wouldn't be okay with you doing that. They'd feel devastated and hurt. So some of them will be, but why do you want to be with somebody where your relationship is so toxic that it's about getting revenge and being even? Oh, if he can cheat, then I can cheat too. That's childish thinking that adults shouldn't be doing. So, yeah. What else? Yeah, I kind of already got into number 5, which was how men cheat. So yeah, pretty much make up excuses why they, you know, have to stay late, or why they got home late, or why they took a shower while they were out, why they smell like perfume, the whole 9 yards. And it's a lot easier to do here, really, because unlike in the US, it's totally normal to go places like host clubs and bars, etc. with your coworkers by force and not by choice. So coming home smelling like cologne or smelling, you know, of soap or whatever, like, it all actually makes sense here. So it's a lot harder to technically catch them in the act. But Japanese men, like men anywhere else, they're not good at lying, which you don't want to be known as being a good liar, but I'm just saying, like, you'll know when he's cheating on you. It's very obvious. So if you find yourself having to make up excuses or find yourself constantly listening to he's more than likely cheating on you. And again, there's the double standard. It's okay for him to cheat on you because he can use the excuse that you're not there enough, it was a long distance relationship, he felt lonely, he got bored. He'll never be honest with you. He's gonna tell you, no, I didn't do whatever, I was just busy with work, it was a friend, we were doing this, it was that. Right. But you cannot do that as the girl. He won't be okay with that. So again, every guy is different, but generally speaking, if he's serious about you, he's not going to be okay with you having guy friends. He will expect you to, you know, delete all of your dating profiles. He might not even like you posting like sexy pictures and stuff on social media. He'll find that to be bothersome, and he might see it as a form of cheating as well too, and use it as an excuse to cheat back on you. As far as things go with him, generally speaking, if you guys are not living together, and especially if you're not in the same city and you're not seeing each other very often, it's very likely that he is cheating on you. But again, he'll see it as justified cheating because it was a need he needed to satisfy. He wanted and needed sex, he couldn't see you, so he went to go see somebody else. But if you were to go around doing that, then suddenly he'd have the fear of getting an STD, which is so weird. So it's like, okay, I should be okay with the potential of getting an STD from you sleeping around, but what? Like, you know what I'm saying? You're worried about me getting something. You're worried about getting something from me sleeping around. But I can't be worried about getting something from you sleeping around, basically. So I'm just repeating myself over and over again. Long story short, cheating is ultimately viewed the same way. They believe that cheating is the act of doing something that you wouldn't feel comfortable doing in front of your partner, but they become more defensive over cheating than in the US. For example, if you catch a man cheating, even if he gives you the same excuses for why he did cheat, he will understand and recognize it as cheating. In Japan, normally if you confront a cheater, they will get upset with you and blame you for the reason why they cheated and ultimately just break up with you and get angry, instead of being like, oh my god, I'm a horrible person, let me fix it, I'm so sorry. And generally, if they play the oh my god, I'm a horrible person, let me fix it excuse, because you forgave him for cheating, he's probably just going to continue to do it again because he knows that he can get away with it. Use stupid excuses like language difference, cultural differences, barriers, whatever. He'll play all of those dumb games with you. I've been there, done that. Save yourself the heartache, heartbreak. If you think he's cheating on you, know he's cheating on you, move on. He's probably not going to change. He's not going to really be sorry. There's other and better people out there for you. So that's that. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have anything else you want to add to it, leave it in the comments down below. Have you been cheated on? Do you know if someone has been cheated on? Do you find that dating older men lessens the chance of being cheated on? What has been your personal experience here? How would you say that relationships generally view cheating with, Japanese man, foreign woman? How has that gone for you? Again, this is my opinion, my experience, but I personally find that as a foreign girl, there's a double standard where I should be more accepting towards and forgiving towards his cheating, but he cannot feel that same way if I do the same thing back. So yeah, I'm done. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram at comic95, as well as Twitter at comic95. You can add me on Snapchat at comicthesavior, and I hope you'll watch another video. Thank you so much for watching.